Hello and good day, everyone. So for today's lesson, we have the derivatives and integrals of hyperbolic functions. That is why our lesson objectives are the following. Be able to define or recall, kung alam na po natin, the hyperbolic functions, differentiate hyperbolic functions, and integrate them. Okay, so to define a hyperbolic function, first we have the hyperbolic sine x that is equal to e to the x minus e to the negative x over 2. Actually, yung mga hyperbolic functions natin are combinations of exponential functions. So they are exponential functions that are operated with each other. Okay, so like in this case, we have e to the x and e to the negative x, and we're subtracting them and then divided by 2. Tapos pag inad naman natin sila, what we have is our hyperbolic cosine or cos x. That would be e to the x plus e to the negative x over 2. So ito minus for the sines ay sinh. Ayan, so subtraction, kaya subtraction. S is for subtraction. Ito, C is for combination. Tapos ina-add natin. Baka malito lang tayo. Kasi take note, subtraction is not commutative. No? So unahin natin yung e to the x. Okay? So katulad sa ordinary trigonometric function, yung tangent x doon, di ba? If you remember, that is sine over cosine. Dito, halos similar din. Hyperbolic tangent or tang x is equal to sinh x over cos x. So same pa rin, ano? So bali lalabas, pagka ginamit natin yung e expression, this will be e to the x minus, let me write it down. This will become, magka-cancel yung over 2's nila, this will be e to the x minus e to the negative x, sa baba yung e to the x plus e to the negative x. Okay, tapos yung hyperbolic cotangent naman, that is the same lang nung cotangent natin na cosine over sine. So itong cos x is equal to cos x over sinh x. So similarly, this will be e to the x plus e to the negative x all over e to the x minus e to the negative x. Yan. Tapos kapag second, di ba kung naaalala natin, that is 1 over cosine. So same lang din, sec x or hyperbolic secant of x is equal to 1 over cos x. Tapos pagka meron tayong hyperbolic cosecant, ito medyo mahirap nang i-pronounce. Cosecant, di ba yung cosecant natin, alam natin reciprocal niya is sine. So ganun din dito, hyperbolic cosecant and hyperbolic sine functions are reciprocals. So lalabas, this will become, itong sa hyperbolic secant, bali kung reciprocal siya nung cos, this will be 2. Di ba yung 2 yung mapupunta sa taas, yung e to the x plus e to the negative x yung nasa baba. So similarly, ito naman din, yung 2 yung nasa taas, yung e to the x minus e to the negative x ang nasa baba. Okay? So ayun po, take note also of the following relationships, no? So i-take note natin na tang x is equal to, again, this is in terms of e to the x minus e to the negative x all over e to the x plus e to the negative x. Ayan. So, recall po natin. Tapos yung hyperbolic cotangent is e to the x minus or plus? Plus, kasi cos yung una, di ba? Negative x. Tapos dito yung e to the x minus e to the negative x, or simply, this is the reciprocal of tang. Ayun. So may x po doon ha. And then for the hyperbolic secant, this is 1 over cos. So bali 2. Diba? That is the reciprocal eh. So 2 yung nasa numerator. Again, e to the x plus e to the negative x yung nasa baba. Tapos si hyperbolic cosecant is 2 over e to the x minus e to the negative x. Yan. You can take a picture of these e versions of the hyperbolic functions if you like. Okay. So for the hyperbolic identities, no, naalala po natin, no, this also applies for the ordinary trigonometric function. Sine of negative x equal to negative sine x. So similarly, sinh of negative x is equal to negative sinh x. Parang it's an odd function, no? Tapos yung cosine, it's an even function. So kung naalala natin, cosine, yung ordinary cosine, So ito, alalahanin natin, sine of negative x is equal to negative sine x. Tapos yung cosine of negative x is the same as cosine of x. So same pa rin dito, no? Cos of negative x is equal to cos x. Ang medyo may twist ng konti ito. Kasi ang alam natin sa ating ordinary trigonometric functions, ina-add sila. So cosine squared x plus sine squared x. So ito yung popularly known as the Pythagorean Identity. Equal yun sa 1. Pero dito, we subtract them. So take note na uunad tong cos kasi yun yung may plus, di ba? Cos squared x minus sin squared x equals 1. Okay? So, paano natin ipoprove yun? Yun yung ating gagawin, no? Kung e to the x plus e to the negative x, squaring that, tapos pareho silang magiging over 4. Tapos sa baba naman, you have minus yung sin, no? So, e to the x minus e to the negative x. If you square that, so dapat lalabas yung kanilang square is 4 kasi para magka-cancel yan. So, lalabas you have here 2 tapos dito minus negative 2. That will be 4 over 4 kaya equal yun sa 1. Okay, so the proof is like that. Okay, kaya we have to subtract. Kaya subtraction kasi minus negative 2. Yan, lalabas. Okay? This will be 2 pag in-square minus negative 2 which is 4. So 4 over 4 is 1. Tapos ito din, ano, sa ating ordinary trigonometric functions, 1 plus tangent squared x is equal to secant squared x. Dito mina-minus. Take note 1 yung ating min-wen. Tapos minus tangent squared x is sec squared x. Okay? So 1, ito yung nasa ordinary trigonometric function, so wag pong malilito. Okay? You can take a picture of this slide and pause the video if you like. Ayan. Okay, so for our derivatives of hyperbolic functions, basahan natin yung pag-derive ng hyperbolic sine of x with respect to x. Equal daw yun sa cos x. So, paano nangyari yun? So, lalahanin natin yung sin x equal to that. So, differentiating this, dito tayo sa left side muna mag-focus. Derivative of sin x is the same as getting the derivative of this fraction, this one. Okay? So you have e to the x there minus e to the negative x all over 2. Thus you're differentiating that fraction with respect to x. So that's a quotient. So we'll be using the quotient rule for our derivative. So we have low, di ba? Low tapos derivative of our high. So ang derivative ng high natin will be e to the x minus e to the negative x. Tapos times negative 1. So we might as well add this. Okay. Ayan. So yan yung low, the high, minus high. So we have to copy that. Kaya lang derivative of the low is 0. Tapos over law squared. So that is 4. So this term will cancel out. This one will cancel. So magiging 2 na lang. So we recall this identity. Oops, sorry po. Ayan, so lalabas naman, di ba, nawala naman to, so nag-cancel yung second term. In fact, pwede nating nilabas yung 1/2 di ba? Ayan, so another way of differentiating this will be to bring out the constant 1/2. Let's do it here. Di ba, pagka tinreat natin siya as 1/2, tapos differentiate the rest of the function. So we'll have e to the x minus e to the negative x times negative 1. So this will become e to the x. Magiging na tong plus because of the negative 1 there. Tapos all over 2. And then that is exactly the same as your cos x. So that means this derivative is just equal to the hyperbolic cosine of x or the cos x. Ayan. So with that, we have this formulas. Ayan. So parang kaparehas lang din sa ordinary trigonometric function except that this doesn't become negative. Okay? So derivative of sinh is cos, derivative of cos is sinh. Parang nagpalitan lang sila. So similarly, kung naalala nyo, derivative ng tangent is secant squared sa ordinary trigo. Dito, derivative pa rin ng tang is sec squared. Pero kailan tayo nagkakaroon ng negative? Okay? So ito yung mga basic trigonometric functions. Si sinh, si cos, si tang. yung mga derivatives nila are all positive. Yung mga kasunod na, sila yung magiging negative. Yan. Halos kaparehas lang din ng ating sa ordinary trigo, di ba? Kaya lang, meron kang letter H na dinagdag. Okay, so derivative ng cotangent is cosecant squared, di ba? Negative actually, no? Derivative of secant x, di ba? Sectan. That was positive before, pero dito, nasa negative side na siya. Okay? Itong cos, positive, no? Tapos derivative ng cosecant na ordinary trig function, negative cosecant cotangent. So ito nagkaroon lang ng H. Negative hyperbolic cosecant hyperbolic cotangent. Okay? So para maalala natin to, yung mga nasa calculator nyo na functions, di ba? Yung mga nasa calcu natin, sine, cosine, and tangent. So yung hyperbolic functions ng mga yon, sila yung mga positive, yung mga wala sa calculator, sila yung negative. Okay? Yung derivative ng hyperbolic functions nila. Okay, so we have also the u versions of this where u is a differentiable functions of x. So papalitan natin to ng u. So we will do the same thing with this. Pero kung nagdi-differentiate tayo with respect to x, and that is a differentiable function of x, yung u na yan, nagkakaroon tayo ng extra factor na u prime, just like dun sa mga dinifferentiate natin before. Yan, parang, this is actually the parang chain rule of differentiation. So similarly, meron ka lang additional factor na u prime. Okay. Tapos ayun, meron kang u prime for the hyperbolic tan and then for the hyperbolic cot. Ayan, hyperbolic secant and hyperbolic cosecant. Okay, so you might want to take a picture of this slide for your quick reference later. Okay, so let's have our example. Let's find the derivative of this one. Take note that this is a product, so we'll be using the product rule for the derivative of this. Okay, we copy this expression, so that is x. Differentiate this one, so we know the derivative of that is sech squared x. Okay, plus, then we copy this one naman. Siya naman ang ikakopy natin, si tanh x. Tapos differentiating this one, that is just equal to 1. So we just leave it as tanh x. So that's it. This becomes our final answer. O, di ba? Ang dali lang, ano? Kayang-kaya. What about this one? This time we have a quotient. So applying the quotient rule, we want the low d high minus high d low over law squared. Okay, so unahin natin yung law squared. Madali lang si law squared. Okay. So ang ating d high para naka-ready, this is cosh, di ba? Derivative ng sinh is cosh of the same u times the derivative of that u. So, ang derivative ng u natin will be pi. Okay? Tapos, ito naman, ang low natin or derivative of the low is 2x. Okay? So, low d high will be this product. Okay? So, arrange lang natin yung ating mga factors. So, we have pi x squared plus 1 and then cosh of pi x. That is for our low d high. Ni-rearrange lang natin yung mga factors. Minus high d low, so ito naman. Okay. So that will be 2x and then sinh of pi x. Okay, so that's it. You have your low d high minus high d low over law squared. So that's for our derivative number 2. Now let's go to this one. Yan. So this time we have a negative tapos to the fourth power. Okay, so what we mean there is, diba, applying the chain rule, we have negative 4, we bring down the exponent and then raise this to the third power. So we have cosh of to the third power of x squared minus square root of x. Okay. Tapos, differentiable pa po ito no? So, that means we have to differentiate that. So, multiply by the derivative of x squared. That will be 2x minus the derivative of square root of x, which is square root of x over 2x. Okay. So, ayun po ang ating derivative. You can still simplify this pero okay na po to for our final answer. Normally, we don't simplify it anymore kasi para mas kita natin kung paano in-apply yung rule. Okay, ito na lang po kasi normally the derivative of square root of x, if you remember, is 1 over 2 square root of x. So, inano na lang natin, i-rationalize. Okay, that's for the derivative of square root of x with respect to x. Okay, so let's have our next example. This time we have a function of t. So, quotient pa rin, no? So, we need to find the derivative of our high. So, that will be sech tanh. So, sech t cube tanh t cube. But then we remember, ito yung nasa last three functions. So, this one will be negative. Okay. Tapos, this is differentiable pa, no? Yung t cube. So, we have times 3t squared. Ayun. Okay. Tapos, sa baba naman, that's inverse, no? Inverse trigo function or the arctan of t. So, derivative of that is a quotient. So, that will be 1 over 1 plus t squared for the derivative of arctan. So, yun yung the low natin or derivative of the low. This long thing is our the high or derivative of the high. So, for the f prime of t, medyo mahaba po ito. We have this fraction bar. Tapos, ang ating denominator will be the square of arctan of t. Yun yung low squared. So, reciting our formula in our mind, low d high will be this product, no? So, ayusin lang natin, negative 3t squared times arctan of t. Yan. And then, we have the sech t cube. And then, tanh t cube. Okay, so that's for low d high. Minus high d low. Ayun po ang ating high d low. Minus of that. So, nasa numerator si sech of t cube. Nasa baba naman si 1 plus t squared. Ayun, so that's it. That's for our derivative of this example. Okay, let's go to our next one. And this time we're given with this g of t. Again, this is a function of t. So what we have is g prime of t. This is just separated by the plus symbol. So that means we can just differentiate this and then differentiate this one. Okay? Ayan. So take note, ano, katulad kanina, yung hyperbolic secant is negative. So dito din, yung hyperbolic cosecant, if you're differentiating this, that will be negative hyperbolic cosecant, hyperbolic cotangent. Okay, so negative of hyperbolic cosecant of 3 sine t, tsaka cos of 3 sine t. That is our RU. And then RU prime will be 3 cosine of t. Okay. That's for the derivative of the first term. Plus, let's go to this one, derivative of the second term. That gives us a sine. Yan, sine function. So differentiating that will be cosine. We copy this one. So that will be cosine of the r cosecant. Take note, this will not cancel with each other kasi this is inverse cosecant, not the reciprocal of cosecant. Okay, so cosine of r cosecant of t. Okay. Tapos we differentiate this. So ang nire-recall natin yung derivative of sine u with respect to t. This is equal to cosine of u times the derivative of that u with respect to t. Parang yun yung u prime natin. Okay? So same as this one. Ayun yung, ito naman yung nag-serve as our u temporarily. So yun, kinopya muna sa ating formula before we get to differentiate that. Okay? Okay? So, ayun. Ano yung derivative nga ng arc cosecant? Yun yung negative, ano? So, negative of the fraction, negative 1. Parang sa arc secant, no? So, meron kang t dito sa labas. Actually, absolute value pa yon. Square root of t squared minus 1. Ayun. Okay, so it pays to know your formulas. Ayun, dami, no? Daming mga formulas. Wala pa tayong nakalimutang negative. Negative to, no? Tapos this one is also negative. Okay, pero derivative ng sign is positive cosine. Okay, let's move on to our integrals. Ayan, so ito naman yung ating opposite process, no? So ito yung mga given kanina, yung nasa right side. Ito po. Ayan. Tapos ito yung mga nagiging answer natin. Cosh, sinh, and sec squared. Tapos ito naman yung mga given sa right side. Pero if you want to have a positive version of this, yung answer natin yung magne-negative. So, if you have integral of hyperbolic cosecant x, hyperbolic cotangent of x, that will be negative of hyperbolic cosecant of x. Plus, of course, the c. Okay? So, same as this one, you can just remove the negative symbol or negative sign dun sa integral. Yung answer natin, yung magkakaroon ng negative sign. So, let's write it here. If you have integral of sec x, tang x, with respect to x, sorry, I forgot the dx here. This will be equal to negative sec x plus c. Yan. And of course, dito naman din sa last one, let's write it here. Yan. That would be negative cos x plus c. Okay, so pwede niyo pong picturean tong slide na to for your reference in the future. Tsaka sa mga exercises natin in a while. Okay, let's have our example. Ayan, so kung naalala natin, pag meron tayong denominator na e to the x, tapos minus e to the negative x, associated yun with the sign function. Tapos ini-square pa. So ibig sabihin, we have an idea that this is the reciprocal of the sinh, which is hyperbolic cosecant. Okay? So, we recall that the hyperbolic cosecant x is equal to 2 over e to the x minus e to the negative x. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kung i-square natin to, we have a 4 on the numerator and the square of this expression. Okay? So, kung 4 lang to, that means the 2 should be taken out. Kasi parang lalabas, you have 8 here. So, 8 is actually 2 times 4. So, gawin natin siyang 2 times 4 of e to the x minus e to the negative x squared dx para kita natin. Okay? So, this one is equivalent to hyperbolic cosecant squared. So, that will be 2 hyperbolic cosecant squared x. Then you have a dx there. Okay? So, now we have a formula that suits this. Ano yan? Ano nga ba yan? That is negative cos. No? Yan yung parang siya yung derivative ng hyperbolic cotangent pero negative, no? So that will be negative 2, yun na yung nag-absorb ng negative. So hyperbolic cotangent of x plus a c. This becomes our final answer. Ay sorry, nasagasaan si c. Okay, you can always pause the video if you want to absorb our discussion. Yan, kung kailangan nyo pa ng more time to reflect and absorb. Now, let's have this one. Okay. So, mga naka-square. So, that means we cannot just integrate right away kasi may mga squared versions to. Meron lang tayong integral sa formula natin ng squared. Yung si sec, tsaka si hyperbolic cosecant. Okay. So, kailangan yun ang matarget natin. And we recall that this expression here is just equal to 1. Okay. So, magiging 1 na lang siya minus hyperbolic of tangent squared x. Tapos we again recall this is again one of the hyperbolic identities that is equal to sech squared, di ba? Dun sa mga previous slides that I mentioned. Ayan. And this is already one of our formulas that is equal to tang x or hyperbolic tangent of x, sorry, plus c. Ayan. This is our final answer. Okay, so it pays to know your identities. Now, let's go to the next one. Ayan, so may naka-square na naman, so we don't use a quotient rule. We don't have that one pagka nag-i-integrate tayo, no? So, alamin natin kung anong pwede natin gamitin. So, sounds familiar or looks familiar. Meron kang e to the x tsaka e to the negative x. So, we have an idea since nasa baba to, that is yung cosine yun, di ba? So, ibig sabihin, parang pwede natin siyang paghiwalayin. So, we can write this as 1 over e to the x plus e to the negative x. We're separating this 2 kasi naka-square naman siya. Tapos, the other fraction will be, iti-take natin itong numerator na to na magkasama kasi maalala natin dyan is the sinh, no? So, e to the x minus e to the negative x all over e to the x plus e to the negative x dx. Okay. So, ito medyo familiar, kaya lang 2 yung nasa taas. So, that means kailangan niya may 2 siya, no? So, we have to multiply that by 2 over 2. Let's use a different color for that. So, kailangan niya, kailangan mag-multiply tayo ng 2 at the same time, mag-divide din tayo ng 2. Yan, parang it's like multiplying by 1/2. Tapos, this expression now is equal to yung 2 over e to the x plus e to the negative x. That expression is equal to sech, di ba? Yan yung reciprocal ng cos. So, sech x. Okay. Tapos, dito naman, this is e to the x minus yung nasa taas, sinh over cos yan, di ba? So, sinh over cos is tang x. Then you have a dx there. So, ano ba yung sech x, tang x? That is the, di ba yung secant, yun yung derivative ng secant. Kaya lang secant is not in your calculator. So, this one will be negative. Okay? So, you have negative but we'll just let the 1/2 absorb that. No? Lagay na natin sa unahan yung negative. Tapos, sech x plus c. Okay, so this becomes our final answer or negative sech x all over 2 plus c. Okay, so that's it for that example. Ayan, so I hope you are now ready for our time for questions. Question number 1, find the derivative of this one. Okay, fast forwarding our timer. Let's answer this now. Okay, I will shift back to my yellow pen. Ayan, so gamitin natin yung formula ng a to the u, no? So formula for the derivative of that is a to the u, ln of that a times u prime, no? So recall natin, no? So f prime of x, we need to copy that a to the u thing. So that's 2 to the sinh x times ln of 2 times the derivative of that u, which in this case is cos x. Okay, so we're done with the first term. Now let's go to the second term. We bring down the exponent. Tapos cos x will be raised to the 1. Yan, so gawin na lang natin siyang cos x na lang. Then derivative of cos is sinh x. So there you go. Okay. Ayan. Let's move on to exercise number 2. This is the given function. Find the derivative. Okay, fast forwarding our timer. Again, you can always pause the video if you want to have more time answering. Ayan, so ang gagawin natin is to get f prime of x. Yan. We take note that the derivative of this will be 0 kasi this is independent of x. So this one will be a constant. It's not dependent on the variable. Okay, so this one will serve as a constant. So derivative will be 0. Tapos dito na tayo kagad. So negative 6. Kasi bibring down natin yung 6. Tapos the cost will be raised to the 5th power. Then we have a pi x. Okay. Tapos for the derivative of cost, that will be negative hyperbolic cosecant squared of the same function. Diba? Tapos, derivative of pi x will be pi. Ayan. So, pwede natin i-rearrange yung ating factors. That will be negative 6 pi. Tapos, we have cos to the 5th of pi x. And then, cosecant hyperbolic squared of pi x. Yan. Yung negative, nilagay na lang natin sa unahan together with the 6 and the pi. Okay, so this is our answer for question number 2. Now for question number 3, let's find the integral of this function. Okay, fast forwarding our timer. I hope you just found this a very easy question. So integral ng hyperbolic cosine is sinh, hyperbolic sine. Ay, sorry, mawawala na yung ating integral symbol. Okay, so that will be sinh, just sinh x. Tapos ito, integral of that will be cos x. Ayan, so plus c. So practically, yung kanyang integral is the same as the given. Nagkaroon lang tayo ng plus c to account for the function whose derivative is 0. Okay, di ba? Ang cute ng kanyang final answer. Now, let's go to question number 4. Find the integral of this function. Okay, so ano na po tayo? Fast forwarding our timer, no? So take note that this is the negative of this one. Diba? Bakit ito yung minimension natin? Kasi this is an identity equivalent to sech squared x. Since it is the negative of that, this will become negative of sech squared x dx. So alam natin dapat ang integral nito, 'di ba? Lalabas natin yung negative sign, pero integral of sech squared is tang, pero with the negative there, we have negative tang x or hyperbolic tangent x plus of course the c. So ayun, this becomes our final answer for question 4. Hope you got that one correctly, and I also hope you got 4 out of 4 in this set of exercises. So to end our presentation, learning is an active process. We learn by doing. Only knowledge that is used sticks in your mind. So keep on practicing, keep on learning. God bless everyone. Enjoy learning. Bye.